Good. Well, Catarina, thanks very much for agreeing to meeting with me and just have a friendly and casual conversation on, all topics, digital and computational pathology and everything related to this amazing world. Because obviously, your lab has been digital now for a number of years, and you were a pioneer in full digital pathology for primary diagnosis, and obviously you have extensive experience on the topic, and of course lately you also gained significant experience with the usage of AI for routine diagnosis. So just wanted to gather your thoughts as to how does digitization impact the performance of the pathologists who use it.
Thank you, Juan, for having this conversation with me. This is very close to my heart. We are fully digital for tissue, nearly 5 years, and it impacts so badly. It's so strong that none of us wants to go back to analog. I think we are faster, more precise, and the number of errors that we may admit in our workflow reduced a lot because we understand this, as you say, digitization, but globally as a digital transformation.
Yes.
So one thing goes with the other.
Yeah.
And if you consider that digital capture allow us to navigate in the screen, and we start opening ourselves, not in the microscope, but into the outside, and we share with softwares, and we share with AI, then all the potential grows. Tremendous, the modification, tremendous, and it's very, very positive.
Yes, I agree with you. In my experience back in my hospital days, I had a very similar reflection. It's like, yes, people may struggle to go digital at first, but once you go digital, you don't want to touch a microscope ever again in your life. So I'm glad that it's not us getting the same feeling, the same sensation of not wanting to go back to the previous way of working. So I'm glad to hear that we both shared that same experience.
I must tell you that we didn't find any resistance.
Yes.
So that there was nobody saying, I don't want to go for it. Since the quality of the image is nice and it's pleasant, navigation is comfortable, and we can do it from whatever place that we wish. Why to stick with a microscope in the basement?
Yes.
Let's get some fresh air.
Yes. But I guess, the question is, how do you convince the hospital administrators that it is a worthwhile investment?
Well, I will tell you, in my case, back at those times where this was not a topic, of course, there was a lot of questions, and it was hard. But at the moment, the need for the digital transformation is global at the healthcare systems. This is not just for pathology. This is for all specialties. This is not unique from us. And I've been seeing administrations taking the lead and saying, you need to go for this.
Yes.
So the other way around.
Yes.
The problem here, probably it's not so related with financial investment. It's related with other types of investments, because financial investment, eventually, it will need to come. It will need to come, and it has been identified already by some institutions, by some national societies, by some governments that already invested a lot of money in this. So I think that the strongest argument is we will be faster, we will be more precise, and we'll be with the tools that we need to have. We will have the capability to use the tools that we need to have to be at the levels of good practice.
Agree.
Otherwise, Yeah, it's not possible. I'm sorry.
Fully agree with you. And in fact, hearing you saying that, just remember a conversation that I had with a colleague of ours from the US that essentially was complaining that, they were in the midst of a lawsuit, malpractice lawsuit, because essentially some pathologists picked up the wrong slide
Yeah.
and reported in the wrong case. And they were in the midst of a lawsuit, allegedly for some $10 million. And I thought, well, that not only more than covers, the whole digitization, and of course, it saves from all the distress for the patient, for the clinician, for the pathologist involved, for the whole organization. So again, this is something that it's often overlooked, but yeah, safety is there. We are human beings, and it's inevitable that we're gonna make an error sooner or later. And this is where I guess technology is here to help us do a better job, in what we intend to do every day.
We are so manual. So
Right.
microtomes are manual. Embedding in the many centers, it's manual. Labeling, it's manual. So
Yeah.
all of these steps are prone to error. To change one glass slides in the thousands of slides that are running in our lab every day, if it's just one, oh, I'm a lucky woman.
Yes.
So the probability to collect an error, it's very high, to be honest. And with technology, we can reduce this to nearly zero. And it's mandatory for us if you have this possibility to go for it.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, to me, is incredible that there is full tracking for you order a pizza, and if you look at the app, you know that the pizza now is going in the oven, and you know that the pizza is now ready, and the delivery guides, driving to your house, and you can track all of that on your mobile phone, but you don't have that level of tracking for your cancer specimens. How is that
Completely.
possible? How is that possible?
Completely. I do the same comparison. It's very funny. I do the same comparison with factories that produce
Right.
cookies.
Right.
That you track the ingredients, you track the packages, you track
Right.
each cookie and do an intense quality control. And this is not happening with something that is essential for the management of the patient. How come diagnosis is not controlled so severely?
Right.
Tracking system, it's something that everybody should have. I know
Right.
recently just received the news this weekend that the Italian group now establishes a mandatory feature for each of the lab to have a tracking system. And I'm glad to receive it, and I hope others follow the same.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So totally agree with you. Like, pathology has been too artisanal for far too long, too manual for far too long, and it's about time that it gets up to speed with the times. So yeah, agree with you there. Obviously, you have published a number of papers in the last few months, really, on your experience with AI, and one of your papers was actually awarded the Paper of the Year award by the European Society of Pathology. So yeah, congratulations on that. And I think that the results are fairly impressive, aren't they?
Thank you, Juan. This paper for us was paradigmatic in the sense of gaining experience with AI. Was our
Right.
first clinically oriented one. We had some in the past with other settings, but this one was really clinically oriented. And we ultimately understood that with the use of AI, we could be faster
Right.
significantly. I mean, it's not
Quite a
seconds,
bit.
it's a lot. And then we could reduce also in other costs. People are always
Yes.
talking about costs. And we would reduce immunohistochemistry testing
Mm.
significantly. And we
Mm.
would reduce second opinion since
Mm.
AI was working as a partner for us. This was automatic. Please see that this paper was in the phase of installation. We were also learning how to deal with this. And this human machine interaction is very complex. And even at that time, we established a sort of an empathy oh, you say this, I also say this. So we do agree,
Right.
no need for immunohistochemistry.
Right.
This was very automatic. And of course, as the time passes by and trust installs, because this is a relation of trust, these numbers became even more expressive. So it was a good recognition of our work, but it's also the recognition that AI tools, namely CAT tools, which was the case for prostate cancer, have a real impact in our practice. The numbers. In a third of the cases, the AI tool was helping us deciding, and we decided correctly because we didn't have any discrepancies in the final specimens. So in a certain way, it covers all ranges in terms of features impacting our practice. If this is happening with good CAT tools, which is the case, why not? Why should we deny this possibility to our patients, right?
Agree. Couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, I think you're absolutely right. It's like having an extra tool that allows you to be more efficient, more accurate in your diagnosis, that involves a number of savings in, ancillary testing, second opinions. There was a significant reduction in second opinions, isn't it? Like, 40% if memory serves me right, which means that these are patients that are no longer waiting for the case to be sent to, a consultant or what have you. So in other words, delaying the case. And thanks to this tool that, we call AI.
Yeah, and the thing is, the way we, and I think you also defend this approach, the way we work with AI, which is a synergic way we work together, it really brings up the potential of both the human and the machine.
Right.
So it's something that we cannot do isolated AI alone or the pathologist alone, but together, I mean, it makes diagnosis shine.
Yes. And, so some people say that, foundation models are, still in the realm of academics and, is, to be locked in an ivory tower. But you had a very recent experience with a test drive of a foundation model derived tool for pan-cancer screening. How did you get on with that?
This was a wonderful experience. We also published this recently.
Right.
And I must tell you that it was surprisingly pleasant to see a software that was very much dedicated to the management.
Right.
So in a certain way, we have a software that immediately makes you a triage. And this goes through all your cases. It's one reason, and in addition, to have all your workload scanned.
Right.
Because if you just scan a few things, you'll never be able to use these tools in their full potential. But it was good to see that for me, as head of the department, to see something operated at the management level. So it's something that you can immediately cover and see. Well, there's so many malignancies entering today. We need to immediately take a look at these ones and maybe to leave these other ones, and maybe to put guys, fellows, or residents take care of the others. I mean, we can change the path of the samples in that specific day just because of this information. And this means impact in turnaround time. This is one thing. And the other is the fact that, in fact, it really worked. We challenged the software intensively, even using topographies that were not recommended.
Yes.
I like to, bring some...
Bend the rules a little bit, yes.
Yeah, to bring some challenge to the game.
Yes.
And it worked perfectly. It worked very, very well. In a way, what we could understood with that was pay attention. If the software is saying there is something malignant there, dig in, because maybe you're not seeing. And this was the case in very large samples. very large samples that we need to screen, and maybe we can fail in one slide because there was a phone call in the middle and I thought I
Yes.
already saw it and like cross it.
Yes.
But if there is a signal saying there's cancer there, maybe it's worthwhile to see it again or ask somebody to take a look, because probably something is wrong.
Yes.
And it works like a safety net. Again, doing a sort of a quality control in the baseline. So it has a mixed function. And I mean, it couldn't be a more false idea to understand that these types of foundation models do not work in our fantasy. Definitely, some may have less good performances and be less useful. I don't know which type of models people are using, but
Yes.
I must say I was very surprised and pleased to test pan cancer.
Let's just say that some foundation models are more foundational than others. Yeah. Well, Catarina, it's been really, really nice chatting with you. I think this is pretty much, unfortunately, all we had time for today. I hope that we can get together very soon to repeat that. And it's been a pleasure to share these few minutes with you.
Likewise, it was nice to see you, Juan.